I'm resident of Collinwood, Joel Sains. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. That's my buddy Alan Gallant. That's my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to review the movie Forbidden Planet. Leslie Nielsen is here. Walter Pigeon is in this movie. So, guys, I have a question for you. If Forbidden Planet doesn't get made, do we get Star Trek?
No.
I tend to agree. There's so much in this movie that's inspiring toward Star Trek, and some other science fiction as well.
Yeah, but Star Trek a lot.
Yes,
Star Trek a lot. Yeah, Joel, that's an excellent question. No, this is really the blueprint. I think 20th Century Fox could have at least initiated a lawsuit if they wanted. They wouldn't have won, but
might have gotten a settlement.
yeah, oh, definitely, and maybe even an injunction stopping the production. Yeah.
To you guys' point here too, this movie, was released March 3rd, 1956. Its runtime is 98 minutes, so it's not a long movie.
Perfectly. Right.
So, it was, distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. It's MGM for those who don't know.
Okay, that was Fox.
Distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
All right.
There's no, again, I'm looking at Wiki, so there's no other production company.
List.
Production company is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, so no Fox here. So
no, it's Metro,
it's Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. So MGM released this way back when. Guys, a lot of people know we're going to touch on the Star Trek stuff some more, because I did notice the ship here sort of remind me of the regular Star Trek ship, but it also, the inside of it more reminded me of Deep Space Nine's Ops a bit.
Yeah, I can see that. It's gathering around a central circular table, things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. The Andy Probert's original design for the interior of the Enterprise D had a table. If you look at that pit that Picard is in the center of the horseshoe, it's basically designed for a table to be there. And I always thought it would be interesting. They wouldn't have been able to probably work it out in the budget, but if there were a table that rose up from the floor, it's an awfully logical thing for them to have.
Yeah, a crisis table.
Yeah, well, and it eliminates it also eliminates the need for the conference room set.
Right.
But a crisis table, exactly. And they would later on Enterprise find a way to work one in. I don't know if you remember that, but towards the back, trying this angle. Oh, this is terrible. Can I have some more gruel?
Please, sir.
Towards the back of the bridge, they took a set idea from the Defiant, because they never knew what to do with the back of the set on the Defiant of the bridge. Sometimes it's this weird 3D communicator ring, which only exists to solve a very specific type of problem that comes up at the end of the episode that can only be solved with a communicator ring.
Yes.
But later it seems like they were trying to turn it into a situation table. And on Enterprise, they go all the way with that. And they do a really good job. It finally makes sense.
Yeah. It's nice when designs actually mature.
Yes, it is. And well, it was a very responsible group of people on that show. And I say that as somebody who was on the other team.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had nothing but admiration for what they did.
Yeah.
They also beam into the ship, so Star Trek takes that too from here, right?
Yeah. This is, I mean, you've got these beam tubes kind of thing, and it's done very similarly to what's happened in Star Trek 10 years later. So yeah, there's that this would be the suing point, I would think, would be this transporter thing. That would definitely be the suing point if you were going to do it.
Well, I think it exists for the same reason in both films. It's
Yeah.
cheaper than sending a shuttle out. I mean, they already have a shuttle in Forbidden Planet, but this would have been a different one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Guys, Leslie Nielsen is going to be more known for his comedic roles, Airplane, Naked Gun, Dracula Dead and Loving, stuff like that.
It's 23 years in the future, though, before he's really known for comedic.
Yeah, I know.
So
that's my question to you guys. For those who don't know Leslie Nielsen, more as like a serious dramatic actor, how great was he really?
Not. He was, in my opinion, he was average.
Yeah.
And average meant he got hired a lot.
He did, and he was versatile enough.
Yeah. I mean, that's like saying how great a car is the Chevrolet. Well, I mean, it's a perfectly good car.
Right. It's service.
It's no McLaren.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be. Yeah. However, as a comedic actor, he is truly capital G great.
Yeah, he found his niche. He really did. And it was nearly by accident that he did, too. I mean, it was not something that, up to that point, he'd been doing serious roles in some A films, a lot of B films, a lot of television, guest starring stuff, maybe Suspect of the Week on some shows, that kind of stuff. And he was, as we've mentioned, he was serviceable in those roles. He did just fine. Which is why he worked all the time. He was reliable, and for that is huge as an actor anywhere, whether you're doing stage work or whatever. If you're bombastically good and you're unreliable, you're not going to work as much as somebody who's reliable. The perfect storm is being reliable and bombastically good or great. That's the perfect storm. But that doesn't always happen, and casting directors will cast you if they know that you are reliable, will give a reliable performance, will show up on time, and they don't have to worry about you having a nervous breakdown on set and messing with their schedule. So all of that, yes, that's all Leslie Nielsen. And then when he becomes a comedian, he just gradually develops that into, one of the greatest double take human walking double takes in television history, for sure. But also, movies, Dead and Loving It and all of that sort of stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah. I think Patrick accidentally left.
That's all right. He'll be back.
Oh my god. But yeah, I think there's an importance to Leslie Nielsen's transition from dramatic actor to comedic actor.
Absolutely.
Because I have a weird how I got into the Leslie Nielsen film discography, if you will, is fucking weird. Because the first movie I saw was Naked Gun. Yeah. But the next movie I saw wasn't a comedy. It's not just a Leslie Nielsen movie. It's a Jamie Lee Curtis movie, Prom Night.
Right.
It's like, and then I saw the Poseidon Adventure, which he's not in very long.
Right.
And I didn't see this until way later.
Right.
And then I'm going, okay, this guy had to realize at some point, okay, maybe I'm not the best dramatic actor. But I think his importance of being in Airplane is he was known for being a serious actor.
And that's what made it even funnier. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted people who were very straight-faced, and it sort of relaunched his career in every way.
It not only relaunched it, it revitalized it to the point where he became a superstar.
Yeah.
People came to see him in goofy films because he was good at it. He was excellent at it. His sense of timing was fantastic. I was just telling Jewel that he found this great second career as a walking double take. I mean, yes. And that's not a denigration, because it's not easy to do that successfully.
No, it is not.
It's hard. Yeah, comedy is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, when did you guys first see Forbidden Planet, Alan?
Sometime in the 1970s on television. Quite possibly even before. It might have been the early 70s because I think I recall seeing it in black and white. And we only had a black and white television until 1973.
Mm.
So it was probably on local television at some point in the early 70s.
Patrick, when did you first see this movie?
I saw this movie in the 80s when video was ascendant at last. And these things were showing up in video stores, and I was able to finally track them down, which was a delight. So
Yeah.
that's when I got to see it.
I'll tell you when I first heard about this movie. It's when I was first watching John Carpenter's Halloween, and my mom goes, "That movie playing isn't the thing, it's Forbidden Planet." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So
You just watched it, yeah.
In a weird way, yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, so a movie's playing within a movie. And then later on, I think it says almost out of high school, and yeah, I watched Forbidden Planet on Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah. I will say that I've seen it several times before this. This is the best resolution, best print, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen is on Tubi. The color is really good. The whole the resolution of it was fantastic when I was watching it, streaming it. It was the best I'd ever seen it.
The set designs are really good too.
Oh yeah, the matte paintings that just merge seamlessly into the actual set pieces. It's incredible. The artistry of that stuff, amazing.
And even though like the background. Sorry, Patrick, were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I was talking about Welcome Back, Kotter. I got confused. Sorry.
That classroom was the artistry of all time.
Yeah, the background of this, though it's like, it's fake, it looks really good. Everything looks great.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look like you can go knock it over or anything. No. And when they do it all with the effects, it makes it all the more real.
Yeah. It's its own realism, but it's very real. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Like, what did you guys think of the? Sorry, Patrick. What did you think of the set designs here?
Oh, I mean, it was fantastic. I think it has a mythic quality that I really like. I think that I would say that's really the biggest element. It is both very 1930s and streamlined, and yet it has a little bit of Bauhaus going on in there. But ultimately, it's its own animal, and I love that.
And the perspective of it makes much of it look like it's way bigger than it is. Like these gigantic shafts and so on. They're almost expressionistic.
Yes.
In the way they dwarf the actors and so on. So yeah, it's great stuff.
Now, in a sense, like this is where because the robot, this is sort of where Lost in Space comes from too, in a sense.
Robbie the Robot.
Yeah, Robbie the Robot.
Mm-hmm. Who was also used in several other science fiction films throughout the next decade and a half.
Invisible Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember. That's the one thing I'll remember about the Lost in the original is the robot.
Yes.
And I never knew it was from a movie until I watched Forbidden Planet. I'm thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a variation on that theme, but he's an intelligent robot that speaks.
Now it's the same designer, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's
a lot of it.
Yeah, that Robbie prop was the single most expensive prop ever built at the time it was built. The only thing rivaling it, I think, was the robot from Metropolis.
Oh yeah.
And so on.
And there would not be as iconic a robot again until C-3PO and R2D2.
Mm-hmm.
And has there been as iconic a robot since then?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, but
No,
I can't.
I mean, he was Robbie the Robot became a star in his own right. You know, for a number of years. You know, he would make public. You know, they would have him, somebody dressed up as him, making public appearances and doing all sorts of things like that, promotional tours. So it was very impactful. Very impactful. Beautiful design, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous design.
The first robot I ever saw in film was Johnny Number 5, Short Circuit.
Uh-huh.
So
I mean,
those little guys on Short Circuit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, those are pretty cool too. I mean, those are very anthropomorphic, and you know, you actually have feelings for those robots. So,
wait, well, hold on. Who's Johnny? I said, and smiled in that special way.
Here's Johnny.
That song, the Short Circuit song.
Yeah.
Who's Johnny? She said, and smiled in her special way.
I thought it was a potty training song, but that's okay.
That would have solved a lot of things for me. Everybody Poops came too late.
That special way.
What did you guys think of Walter Pidgeon's Dr. Morbius here?
You have to understand, I grew up watching Walter Pidgeon as Merv Griffin's sidekick. They had this vaguely homoerotic, formal, fake British relationship.
Oh, there's no vaguely when it came.
Well, not about Merv anyway. That's true. But speaking of that, did you know that there's a Dark Shadows connection in this movie?
No.
Only 1 degree removed.
What is it?
Earl Holliman.
Earl Holliman, God bless him, who just died.
He just passed away 3 days ago.
Earl Holliman, of course, was Anthony George's husband.
That's correct.
Yeah.
First husband.
Oh, I didn't know he got married again.
Yeah, he was married again when he passed away.
Who I wonder what
Some guy named Craig. I didn't recognize the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't Daniel Craig, the future James Bond.
No, first name Craig. But anyway, yeah, that's the connection. Earl Holliman has a fun little role in this movie as the drunken cook who has Robbie make him all the synthetic bourbon. And then he's supposed to get punished, and he talks his way out of it and just walks out of the scene.
He's great. You know, there was too much truth in that for Gene.
Yeah, I guess.
The fact that the robot has the bourbon ready too is hilarious.
Like he made like 100 bottles of it for him or something.
Yeah.
Nature.
There are a couple of humorous moments in this film, and that's one of them for sure.
I really like the animal aspect, that the girl could seemingly control the animals, the tiger, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting. And then Walter Pidgeon's character, Dr. Morbius, shows them that machine and all the layers. For a movie, again, we've talked about how Dark Shadows was built. They used the soundstage and sets. But for a movie that's built on a set, they do a really good job of making the most of this here.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but they're explaining this technological world. And it's not didactic, because you're also getting this developing character of Morbius. You know, as he's talking about it, you're getting more information about who he is, how he thinks, all of this sort of thing. So
it's a mystery I love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really believe in the mythology here.
Mm-hmm. The Krell, you know, this ancient civilization. And also the psychological aspect of it, which they go into great detail too, because this was early, unless you lived in like New York and were very urbane and seeing a psychiatrist or something like that, the average person was just starting to get information about psychoanalysis and the ego and the id and all of this sort of thing. So it was an interesting way that they introduced that all for that audience of that time.
Well, I feel like kids consider the parents. See, it's educational, man.
Yeah. Really. Yes, you are a little monster, Junior. Go back to bed.
Okay, is Dr. Morbius and the doctor from Leslie Nielsen's crew is it sort of combined for the series for that doctor, or?
Oh, I don't think Morbius is a character on. And Morbius is Dr. Roger Corby.
Yeah.
On Star Trek. He's a bad guy. He's
a bad guy who thinks he's a very good guy.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it is. And the similarities to them extend to their ends too, because they both realize at the end that they completely missed it. They completely missed it.
Yeah.
I do feel this movie is ahead of its time for its not just its concept, but the idea that your own subconscious, your own mind is creating death, is creating monsters. Yes. It was a very unique concept for its time.
Make that technology, make that an aspect of these Krell's technology.
It's way ahead of its time.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of firsts in this movie too, Jewel. I mean, it's the first interstellar, extra light speed travel. So you got kind of the idea for warp speed coming into this whole thing. You've got the idea of, transmolecular travel with the transporter system. You've got this is the first movie, I believe, at least according to the sources that I had, that was done in science fiction that was done outside of our potential universe. Most of the science fiction up to this point actually had to do with atomic disasters and bugs and.
Oh yeah, there was nothing about us harnessing properly and going out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, in the 50s, you're getting some monster movies. Godzilla gets made in the early.
Yeah, it's
50s.
Atomic fear. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of atomic paranoia going on in the 50s for obvious reasons.
You said Godzilla got made. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure, what his mob connections were. So I don't know if he got made or not, but he deserved it.
I think he did. I think in one of the later movies, you see the pinky ring on his claw.
I should have. In a just world, I would have.
Right.
Did you ever see the Godzilla, the guy on formerly known as Twitter X Godzilla? He once put if you want to see me destroy Tokyo at 3 a.m. for no reason, just hit the like button. Just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Why not? I've done it before. I can do it again.
Here's the thing. He's the one who hit the like button. So there you go.
Like and subscribe.
Oh my God. But yeah, the movies, this was totally something new and different. And yeah, it did inspire Star Trek. And I also think too, to a degree, a bit of Star Wars as well.
What ways? Tell me about that.
Okay. Think about the idea of the mind, right? They're using the mind, the Force, and it's in a way. I'm not saying directly, but in an indirect way.
You said directly. You said shot for shot, beat by beat. Star Wars is a dream. And then you threatened to take.
Jerry Lewis still has that shot for shot one.
The ultimate filmmaker.
Oh Christ! Oh my God! What did you guys think of Leslie Nielsen's Ed Walter Pidgeon's chemistry here?
It's like oil and water, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's not really one of the great duos in cinema.
No.
But it's good.
I think that Anne has more chemistry with herself than those two have. But,
yeah.
Anne steals this movie in a lot of ways.
Well, she's got passion going on for her. She's got that going for her. No doubt about it.
I don't know, but it's really I'm caught between in this general era. I don't know who I like more, if it's Anne Francis in this, or if it's Yvette Mimieux in The Time Machine.
Yeah.
That's
That
a
option's
very
really
tough
good.
question.
That's also a really cool movie.
It's
Yeah.
a great movie. My God,
Rod Taylor. Yeah.
it is a sad and painful movie. People forget that how much
Yes,
pain there is
but
in that
it's
film.
really well done, and it's because
Oh,
that's
it's
the
good.
H.G. Wells novel is exactly that. It's
Yeah.
sad and painful.
Yeah, no, I say that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's definitely that. But yeah, she's of course, she was the new thing on the block. Yvette Mimieux was at that point in time. She was
A reason to move to the neighborhood. She's the new thing on the block.
That's. But yeah, I think Anne Francis definitely is a chemical straw that stirs the drink, so to speak, in several of the scenes in this film. And I think she does a much better job of being accessible and vulnerable than almost anybody else in the film.
I would agree. Well, except for Robbie, of course.
Yeah.
There's the crew is also shown a bit of vulnerability too as they're getting killed off. I like that aspect. You have a bit of a sort of a almost a slasher element to a degree, which I don't mind. Again, if you're going to add some mystery to a science fiction movie, why not?
The violence is important in this film. It's important.
Yeah.
It establishes that whole id thing.
Yeah.
The beast inside, all of that stuff. That's important.
Robbie shows up. I'm sorry, keep going. Keep going. It just occurred to me, but it can wait. Keep going.
That's all I had to say. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say Robbie shows up in the first LA party scene in Annie Hall, because then he's he's a featured player in Interiors, if you remember that. And he was very good. He had that the psychiatrist monologue with Sam Waterston that I still can't get out of my mind. Robbie was very good.
I was amazed to see how he could smoke a cigarette in that scene too.
Oh my God, effortlessly. Effortlessly. Like he was born with it.
Yeah.
Did you ever see, Joel, did you see him in those?
I never saw Annie Hall, so.
Did you see Annie Hall?
Huh?
Did you see any Hall whatsoever?
Oh, Annie Hall, no, I didn't.
Yeah, you should watch it. It won Best Picture over Star Wars.
It did.
And it deserved to.
Mm-hmm.
I love Star Wars.
It's a lovely picture. It's a very nice picture.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to see a robot smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why not? Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Robbie dated Diana Davila for about 5 years in the 70s. That was when we knew her most.
One day she turned to him and said, "You're too tall." And that was the end of the relationship.
That was it. This is like being dead. I do not like being dead.
I do not like being mechanical.
That's odd. She took to it so easily.
What's you guys' favorite scene in this movie, Patrick?
Any of the scenes where Robbie's showing off his powers. I know I'm supposed to be into the climax, into the id scenes and all of that. Just Robbie showing off. I love.
Yeah, I really enjoy that, and I enjoy his the fact they used to manipulate audiences by showing him on posters in menacing scenes, carrying the helpless damsel and all this sort of thing, which he never did in the movie. He was actually quite a benign,
he's like
helpful sort of guy in the whole thing, an element of that. And then at the end, he gets a joke scene. He gets kind of like this lighthearted little scene at the end of it. So, yeah, I would say, and at the time, and history tells us, Robbie was the real star of this film. The way that people responded to it. So yeah,
I think that one of the most unforgettable things about characters is their entrance into film. And Robbie has one of the best entrances into this film by driving up to real fast. You see the dust build up. Really well done. I like that, but the scene I love the most is him just producing all this liquor. Like,
Yes, that's quite hilarious, actually, with Earl Holliman starting to drink it immediately.
And I think the fact too that they're able to show, when they actually show this creature, it's menacing.
It's good. It's really good special effects for its time. It's very minimalistic.
Oh, God.
And it shows everything that needs to be shown.
Yeah.
The special effects, I think, are very good in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to add about the movie?
This is one of the first movies to, not the first, because you got some of the other nuclear movies that use extensively the sort of synthesizer music that
yes, very
recalls dread and foreboding and exoticism and everything else. But this movie does it probably the best of any of the movies of that era.
Yeah.
It's a husband and wife team that put this music together, and I hadn't heard of them before. But
never found success doing fast food jingles.
No, too much foreboding and
disquieting gastrointestinal side effects to come.
Oh my God! Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom.
In there. I haven't the nerve to tell her.
I give this movie a 10, guys. What do you give it?
Easily a 10,
yeah.
Joel.
It is the vanguard of its type. It's everything it's cracked up to be. So
yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. I got an interview tomorrow. What are you guys doing Saturday?
I can be made available.
Are you guys down for Sword and Sorcery? The movie?
What do you want to do? You want to do Excalibur?
Do you mean the Sorcerer?
Yeah, the Sword and Sorcerer movie.
Yeah, with Lee Horsley.
Yeah,
sure. I love that movie.
I have not seen this movie.
But I'll tell you something, Alan. I have been on Joel for years to talk about Excalibur. For years, and I can't get him to do it.
Okay.
Well, I'll do it when I can find it and rewatch it. I'll tell you that.
All right.
As soon as I find it and rewatch it, we'll do it.
That's fair.
It's one of those roles. Nicole Williamson is worth being the pain in the butt that he usually was. He's worth it in this film. He's so good in this film. It's like his, he did. I think he did a film version of Hamlet as well at some point.
He did
a stage version, and that was another one of those things that was worth it. It was.
Yeah. Oh man, that stage version. He bit. I think it was Francesca Annis in the face.
Yeah, he was a real pain, as he was so insecure, and he was an alcoholic, and a lot of things kind of came together in old Nicole. But I gotta say, he made a nice bow in Spawn. He made a really nice bow in that, playing.
Oh yeah, he did.
Mentor in that.
Yeah.
That.
I tell you what, I just found Excalibur. Let's do it Saturday.
Okay.
Right.
We're good. We can do Sword and Sorcery at some point in the near future.
Yeah. I just found it. So we'll
great.
We'll do it Saturday night, 10:30. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook About. It's going to be in the description box. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Colin Sport After Dark.
Got a new one out.
Yes, you got a new one out.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You got a new video out.
My podcast. I got a new one out.
What are you talking about on this one?
I'm talking about a photo shoot that was several episodes where they had the very specific and very iconic photo shoots.
It's not the 1795 Ben Martin stuff, is it?
No, it's actually episode 276, in which we get the first big batch of Barnabas in full vampire drag with the fangs and everything, with the moon and the bat in the background. All of those shots.
Yeah.
And then 331, which was a huge shoot. They started early in the morning. They shot rehearsal hall stuff. They shot rehearsal on the sound stage. They shot extra stuff, makeup room stuff. They a ton of shots for that particular episode as well. So those 2 episodes, and plus 273, which was the first. I think that was the very first dedicated shooting for the Barnabas character, and they did it, I think, because they had the Collinwood basement set up and a lot of cobwebs, and they utilized all of that. And there were also shots with Joan Bennett and Louis Edmonds that were done at the same time. Some of those shots made it into the New York Times. So that's kind of that kind of early era.
And if you have a moment, stick around after this. I have something I want to run by you.
Sure.
All right, guys. I'll see you Saturday night. Have a good night, guys.
Joel, thank you.